Last May, Christine and I celebrated our 50th wedding anniversary. Thank you very much. And, we're kind of proud of that, but we also feel a little bit humble. It takes a little bit of luck and a lot of attention and intention to make it for 50 years. And tonight, I'm going to share with you everything I've learned. I'm going to summarize it, though. Everything I've learned in 50 years of marriage. And that is, we are, all of us, just a little bit crazy. We are all a little bit crazy. All of us have these odd idiosyncrasies, preferences for things that just don't make any sense. We don't know where they come from. We don't recognize them as odd. It's just the way we are. I mean, some examples are insisting on sleeping on a specific side of the bed, whether at home, visiting family or friends, or in a hotel. You got to sleep on that side of the bed. Why? I don't know. You have to. And by the way, these examples, I'm not suggesting anybody I know or anybody you're looking at has these little quirks and foibles. I'm just using them as examples. Another one would be not buckling your seatbelt until the car is moving. Why? I don't know why anybody would do that. It's not terribly smart. There's nothing to recommend it, but it's just some people's way. So these are the types of little foibles that we all have, and there's no problem with having these until and unless you are in a close relationship with someone who has a competing crazy preference, as do Christine and I. For example, on vacations, Chris is a researcher. She's a planner. She loves getting out there and finding out all sorts of information about the place we're going to visit, the opening times and the closing times and the restaurants that are nearby, and and discovering other gems to go there in addition to the regular main attractions. She enjoys planning for a trip. And by the way, when we were earlier in our marriage, she worked for a travel publication, so she's got some travel research chops. She knows what she's doing. I, on the other hand, am a bit more casual, trending toward the oblivious. I am perfectly happy going to some place I've never been before, not doing any homework, and just walking around and discovering what they have to offer. Now, maybe I miss stuff, maybe I don't. I don't know. I haven't done any research. And we discovered this difference in our relationship early on in our marriage when we were invited to a wedding in Buffalo, New York. And it was a very nice wedding. We went up and a wonderful wedding. And the next day, as we're packing up, we're getting ready to leave, we decided on the spur of the moment to take a side trip to Niagara Falls. Had never been there. We're in Buffalo. We're close. Let's go. Okay. So we're driving to Niagara Falls, and as we get near the destination, we see a sign for a New York State tourist information booth. And Chris says, Tony, we ought to go there and stop and get them to give us some advice about what we should do while we're in Niagara Falls. Now I'm thinking, what's to do? Why do we have to ask anybody? We're going to go, we're going to park. It's a big waterfall. You park, you see the waterfall, you get back in your car, you leave. What's to do? She said, it's a major tourist attraction. There's going to be plenty of things there. And the people at the booth will have all that information and will make better use of our time. I said, they're going to tell us to go, park, look at the waterfall, and then go home. She said, how can you say that? You've never been there. You don't know anything about the place. Now, this may sound like an argument, but I'm telling you, it wasn't an argument. We were both hysterically laughing at each other. I mean, I realized that this was a strange quirk of mine, and Chris realized that she really wanted to go there, but we sort of recognized that this was a major difference in our approaches to things, and we found each other's position to be hysterically funny. And so rather than have an argument, we're just exploring our adamant differences and just laughing at each other. So I have to admit, though, initially I was a little bit irritated, and that was because I just didn't want to stop and go in there. But fortunately, I realized, well, there is no sane reason not to stop and ask somebody about what to do in Niagara Falls. It was just, and I realized it was an indefensible position. And because I realized that, we were able to have the conversation, laugh about it, and then go to the tourist booth. And this brings me to the only advice I'm going to give people, relationship advice. And that is, in relationships, if you want to have a healthy long-term relationship, always be open to the possibility that you are the problem. I'm telling you, that'll stop you from planting a lot of flags in some very unstable soil. So we get to the tourist booth, information booth, and this really nice guy greets us, and Chris says, "I'd like to know what you can do in Niagara Falls." And he smiles and he picks up a couple of brochures and some pens, and he's going to be marking things down. And he says, "How many days do you have?" And Chris turned to me and smiled, and his smile said, "See?" I said, 3 hours. We've got 3 hours. He said, "Oh, geez, you're not going to have much more time than just park, go see the falls, and then go home."